Okay. So she walked into the stadium where Shamu was, burst into tears, and her mother thought it was the noise and scoured the park for some earplugs. The earplugs didn't stop it, the pain and suffering she was feeling, and they finally had to leave the park. So everyone knew something was going on with her, but no one knew what. And she, interestingly enough, figured out for herself that if she has a big personality that can just fill up a room, that she could protect herself from all the incoming vibrations. So she became this bubbly, the most outgoing person in her whole school. And she exerted all this energy to protect herself in the only way she could figure out, which was really quite brilliant to figure something out, how to protect yourself. How to protect herself from all these incoming vibrations. So fast forward, as she would say, she's now in this business school program at Baldwin-Wallace that I'm teaching about meditation and mindfulness. And here she is being expected to learn how to stand in front of a board of trustees, present a business presentation, and lo and behold, she can't be her bubbly, cute cheerleader self because it doesn't come across in a professional situation. And so she was just stopped dead in her tracks. So I'm going to pause here now. And I want you to take a few moments to contemplate what type of defensive mechanisms you have developed, consciously or unconsciously. She was very conscious about this, to help you deal with being sensitive. We'll be quiet, just ground, and this is a self-reflection that may be a new question for you. When we feel out of control and overwhelmed by our highly reactive nervous system, we will search for anything that will help protect us. So let's just have a few examples. If a few people had something come to them very quickly, could you please share the defense mechanism, primary defense mechanism that you might have used? You may have several.
Marianne here. The first thing that popped in was I became overly kind, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. Does it make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Okay. How about someone else? She's really not as nice as she appears, guys.
Not anymore.
Someone else?
For me, it's mind and intellect.
Mm-hmm.
I contract and pull away, and I can get foggy.
Mm-hmm. How about one more?
The first thing that came up for me
Oh, well,
is,
then we'll do two. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Who are the two people?
This is Laurie.
Laurie?
This is Renee.
Renee.
I'm
Okay, well,
actually
Laurie
having-
first. And then,
I'm
go ahead.
having a little bit of a hard time hearing. It's really different from the first call. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing that.
Is anyone else?
So sorry.
hearing?
No.
We hear you clearly, Laurie.
Okay. It's just really soft. I have to hold the phone to my ear, which I can do. But that's why I didn't hear the other person, so I'm sorry. For me, it was, I think, is a form of productivity and perfectionism.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Renee?
Moving quickly, accomplishing things, kind of quote unquote staying ahead of the game.
Okay. Good. Recognizing how you're protecting yourself is probably the fastest way to relieving a lot of your pain and suffering. Because however you are protecting yourself is what is out of trying to control, being anxious, trying to bring your nervous system down from its high reactivity, all in unsuccessful ways. They're temporary ways. And so you never get the chance to feel free because it's a constant effort to protect. So identifying your primary way of protecting yourself from the flood of input and the highly reactive nervous system is the most open door or is the doorway to relieving your most chronic pain and suffering. Is there anyone here in the group that somatizes in a defensive way? In other words, does it through their body?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Scott, why don't you say what that is for you?
I think it was Ken who said yes.
It was me.
Oh, it's Ken? Okay.
Yeah.
I my back tightens up
when I get overwhelmed, and I'm always getting overwhelmed. I even have, let's say, tics, you know, kind of OCD tics. And, you know, it's just too much information. And I feel like I'm swatting it away.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anyone that gets ill or feels sick?
Yes.
Okay, I heard Lori, and who else?
My digestive,
Susan?
Susan, my digestive system goes off.
Ah. Okay.
I can't digest what's happening.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Let's pause for a moment. Sometimes I just chuckle that we brought a group of empaths together into a class. It sounds like a nightmare. Overwhelming for everyone. But we're all in this together, and we're going to untangle this together. Okay, what are there any other types of defenses that people recognize that we haven't mentioned yet?
Yeah, I numb out.
Numb out. Who said that?
Yeah, Wendy.
Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when you numb out, do you like fuzz out, or what's
Also,
the experience?
It can vary, but at the very least, it's like I can't even feel my own heart. I feel really just kind of detached.
Mhm. Dissociative. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other ones?
This is Renee. For quite a few years, I used alcohol.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think I use humor.
Humor. Okay. Mhm.
Food.
Food.
Yep. Relationships.
Mm.
Losing myself in them.
Okay.
Sleep.
That's the safest one there is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, for
Any
some
others?
it's safe. For others it's not safe.
Okay. Barbara, I can't hear you.
I shut down emotionally and just retreat inside.
Are you speaking into your phone, or do you have it on speakerphone?
I have a headset on. You can't hear it.
No.
It's not working.
So I just shut down emotionally and retreat inside.
Okay. So for
my
all...
metabolism.
Oh, go ahead.
So,
go ahead. Now I hear that.
my metabolism revs, so I feel myself winding up inside, and I burn through whatever sugar is in me or food is in me, and I get really hungry because I'm revved, I guess is the way to say, in defense.
When you get revved up, does your mind get speeded up too?
Yep, everything.
Everything speeds up.
Mhm.
Okay.
My speech, my mind, my stomach. You can literally hear it growling.
Mhm.
Kind of embarrassing.
Okay. Any others we want to put out there?
I go through phases where I do so much there's no space in between.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Okay, good. We are going to sink into our grounding right now because all of these defense mechanisms that have been the source of shame, confusion, creating feelings of self-loathing, of feeling inadequate, of feeling like, what's wrong with me? We're going to do a cleansing because now you can understand yourself. You can understand that you felt out of control, that you felt overwhelmed, your nervous system kicked into gear, and there was no one there to help you understand this. You probably internalized something that went something like, oh, just figure it out, just control it, just, get with the program. Only there was no just. There wasn't the ability, the skill, the understanding to be able to cope with the nervous system that you were born with. You were left in the dark, dealing with a nervous system that you had no idea how to work with. So it's time to feel understanding and love and forgiveness for yourself. And the light is coming into the group. It'll help release these heavy energies. And help you align with who you are, with the body and nervous system that you plan to have this lifetime. And now we're shifting into a new frequency with a new self-identifier. I'm just going to let the energy come in here, and then I'll speak more about it. There. Can most of you feel the difference in the frequency now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Does it feel better to you?
Yeah,
Do you
much
feel
more
better?
acceptance.
Yeah.
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 Okay. There's still more light and frequency coming in now. So do you feel your nervous system settling down now?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here we're at the frequency that is your home frequency. This is where your nervous system, give or take, some variations in each individual, wants to vibrate to.
Mm.
And it's getting stronger and stronger as more of the group is able to tune into it. This vibration is where your nervous system feels at home. And I was saying that if for some reason you're not clicking into this tonight, listening to the recording will, one of the times, you'll click into it.
Do you have to restart that?
Pardon me?
Do you have to restart that, having been bumped?
I can't understand you.
Oh, I said, do you have to restart that? Just to
recording.
The recording, yeah.
It said it was recording when I got on, but I will try again. I'll have to do it twice if I am not recording, but hold on. Thank you, but it is recording. For some reason, it kept going. Okay. No, but I appreciate you checking for me. Thank you, Fran. Mm-hmm. No, not a problem. We need as many double checks in reality as we can get. Okay, so can you kind of remember this frequency for yourselves? And the idea that you have a frequency that is the most comfortable, most loving, most consciousness supporting frequency, that you deserve this for yourself. This is why when the frequencies around you are not in this level, that it's so jarring and your nervous system reacts to it. Mm. So we go back to the idea that it's your nervous system reacting, and it's reacting because the frequencies are not coherent with where your nervous system wants to be. And because we cannot control the frequencies around us, the only control we have is with our own consciousness. So the first place we begin is recognizing that there is a state of being, a state of consciousness that does feel like home, and where our nervous systems can rest and feel in coherence. And what if you protected that coherent state as if your life depended upon it? What if you were able to learn how to find that state and maintain it? Well, let's get all the buts out of the way, because I can hear them. What are all the buts?
I feel like there's a price to be paid, but I don't know that I could articulate exactly what it is.
You're exactly right. Spend a little time contemplating that, Kristen, because that has to do with the attachments, and it may not be as high a price as you think, but it's about giving up something. It feels like it's about giving up something from this side of it.
I feel like if I could find a way to articulate what it actually is, it wouldn't be as bad as I think. But because I'm not able to, I'm afraid of it, I can't get to it, and then it feels bigger than it really is.
Right. You're exactly right. Okay. Unfortunately, each person, I can't do this for any of you, but I can point you in the direction of it, because it's a step each person needs to take for themselves. But it always looks worse on this side of it than on the other side. So if I maintain this state that my nervous system is happy to be in, how will it change my life? How will it change the decisions and choices I make in my life?
So is this tying into the Carolyn Mace piece that you sent us?
Bingo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and one of my question when you first asked about the but, the word that came to my mind was how. And what I'm curious about is how much of it is about ways I need to be different in the world, and how much of it is an inside process where I can learn to maintain this regardless of what my external circumstances are.
That's two separate things. Let's sort that out. It is an inside job. It's about your consciousness, and it may or may not affect choices in your life. Okay? So one is about learning about your own consciousness and what it involves through your attentiveness to be in a certain vibration that calms and soothes your nervous system and opens your consciousness. And then the second part is, how does that affect, if it does, choices that you make in your environment? So they're two different things.
Okay.
And Lori, if I would like to, I kind of have to ask your permission for something that you don't know yet. But, you have a child that is on the spectrum, right? How would you describe your son?
Well, you and others have actually stopped me from calling him on the spectrum, but that's the general idea.
Okay.
So I think it's fun.
Right. So we look at it as a certain brain nervous system style, okay? Mm-hmm. A certain consciousness. Have you looked at yourself as having a certain type of nervous system that requires the same amount of attention and compassion and understanding that you give to your son?
Not really. I mean, that makes very, I'm curious thinking about that.
It's because right now you're feeling love for and understanding for you.
Yeah. I always consider his needs to be, even as a child, I think, wow, he has a more intense issue than I did and do. He needs more. And so the thought that I would give myself the same, what you described, love and compassion, attention, is like, wow.
Right. So you have a highly empathic mother with a child that also is highly empathic, as well as with other constellation issues. That's a very challenging situation. But I just want you to hear that right now I'm seeing you as someone who deserves and requires the same kind of love, attention, and consideration for your sensitivities as for his.
Wow.
As you give to everyone else in your family. I just wanted to be able to say that to you, Lori.
Wow. Thank you. It's interesting that the thing I said is one of the things that I do is the productivity and perfectionism.
Mm-hmm.
That's, so giving myself that love and compassion, attention, honoring. It's the honoring of who he is. Then the tool that I have developed to protect myself would not be effective, which is what you were saying earlier.
Right.
But that's a profound reality to sit with.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. And immediately I say, yeah, but mine's not as bad, and my needs aren't as big, and I don't deserve it as much, and I'm an adult.
Well, that's what everyone here has learned to do.
Yeah.
Everyone here on this call who's empathic or highly sensitive has learned to dismiss, compensate, put themselves down, avoid in ways that could interfere with them achieving what they want to achieve. Because they feel like the rug could be pulled out from underneath them at any time if their nervous system goes haywire. Does that touch a nerve there for people?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Fran, are you on?
I am.
Okay. I know that you never considered yourself that empathic or highly sensitive. Are you starting to see yourself a little differently?
Yes, and actually, when I was in a class with you, a couple of months ago, you suggested that we read Judith Orloff's The Empath Survival Guide, and as I read that, I realized that was a sort of a bigger start of realizing that I am at least highly sensitive and somewhat empathic. And listening to your questions and people's comments this evening, I realized I've developed various mechanisms for coping, anywhere from, or not coping, but just things that my responses, anywhere from making myself really big, like the Shamli person. I didn't do it consciously. I just somehow, when I could be the big energy, or which I never would have called it, and it was much like in high school or junior high, I could have fun as opposed to feeling kind of assaulted or having to shrink and very uncomfortable. And I see that my constant need through adulthood for returning to quiet, withdrawing from people, going into my meditation room, sitting outdoors for extended periods of time to find peace, that it's I own quiet and nature's quiet energy. So yes, the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm. Is anyone else surprised to find out that being highly sensitive or empathic is kind of a hallmark of their being that they didn't recognize before?
I am. I did not realize at all to the extent to which this has been a factor in my life, and tonight I'm having so many oh my God, that explains it moments.
Mm-hmm.
And you also have a sensitive daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I feel grateful that I can recognize it and help her name it for herself, because I'm 50, and I wish I would have known.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're coming to the end. We've gone a little over because of all these phone issues. I seem to have been having phone issues for a couple months now. So our first goal tonight in the class was to begin to have empathy, understanding, forgiveness, being able to reframe our whole entire life in a new light, and that's the first step. And we went through kind of a blessing of a clearing of the shame and confusion and self-loathing that this created out of ignorance. And that's a practice you can continue for yourself, understanding yourself compassionately, understanding the needs that you have to take care of your nervous system and not be ashamed of that or afraid of it. And then we also vibrated to a frequency, I'm hoping most of the people in the class did, that was a place of comfort and some joy and color and richness that matched what your nervous system needs to vibrate at in order for you to enjoy your life. And that will be different for each person, but in a certain bandwidth for all of us. So whoever is moving around and opening doors, please stop. Or go on star 6. So within a certain bandwidth, we're all wanting to vibrate at a certain level. And we're going to go into that further. It has to do with our multidimensional consciousness. It has to do with understanding ourselves on many levels of being, including some that may be foreign to you, but will feel more comfortable. And so we'll explore that in the next class. So for this week, I would like you to spend time going back through your life and understanding from a new perspective the things that made you feel ashamed or embarrassed or that you just hated yourself for, and understand what was happening. You did the very best you could at the time. You found the most intelligent way of protecting yourself at the time without any help. And bring about kind of a reconciliation with yourself to date. Really spend a little time with this. You don't have to spend a lot of time, but a little bit every day. Reconciling. It's like going through the files and changing titles on the tabs of all the files in your life with a new insight. And then the second thing would be to actually practice your meditation and grounding in a way of finding your way to the vibration that feels good to you. Now, this was very important in my life. And I knew that once there was a frequency that made me feel at home, that felt like home to me, I would do anything to figure out how to get there. So it may not happen this week, it may not happen next week, but if you make a commitment to yourself that says, wow, I love feeling like this, and somehow I am going to figure out how to return to this space, this frequency, as often as I can, I guarantee you the doors will open and you will receive an enormous amount of help. But you need to aim for that. It needs to be a goal. It doesn't, I don't care what techniques you use, what works, healthy ones, not defenses, but conscious awareness techniques that have to do with vibration, frequency, meditation, grounding, whatever works for you. Exercise, using the sound frequencies, arts, what works. Find the ways that get you there. And this is your journey. I can bring us to a point where it's recognizable and then it's turned over to you to make that a reality in your life. Very good. Any last comments or questions? Okay. So there's, I always love the comments on the class page. It keeps the energy going through the week. It helps other people. Every time someone writes something, it helps everyone else in the class. So please share your insights on the class page, and I should have the recordings up, God willing, by tomorrow sometime, so you can check for them there. And we have begun our journey. So have a blessed evening, and thank you for joining all of us tonight.